Welcome to the Red Color Podcast and give us Tuesday, which we talk all things trucking and let's go road. Welcome to another edition of the Red Color Podcast. This is episode number 1171. And today we're going to be talking about Karin Haumann and Superflash Fellows. If I remember Karin was on the show back in December of 2022. And we talked about that. We were ready to go in and now it's something like that. We're going to talk about a little bit about the great living hall. There's some new ones that are great culture and a little more good on the this is something that's so cool. Let's get into it. We're recording it into the room share. It's pretty important. No one clear the big company that we've got in Ontario. They run flat in Brampton Ontario. And they got a small reason why they got everything. And the U.S. and the local and the regional and the
All right, everybody. On the line, I have Karin Haumann of OEM, the technical manager for Shell Global Solutions. How are we doing today, Karin?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show. It was December. It's like we do this annually. It's like it's not the Christmas show, but December 2022 you were on so not even last year. Well, I guess, the beginning of the year before. And we were talking about engine oil. So we're still talking about engine oil. And I think we're always going to be talking about engine oil if Shell is on this. So welcome. What's changed with you? What's been going on the last year or so? What's happened in your world as far as your role? Or are you still doing what you're doing? Or have you changed? Or
Yeah, my role is still the same. I'm the OEM Technical Services Manager for Rotella. Okay. And last year, we've been heavily involved in working on a new API service category for heavy-duty engine oil. So we've been putting in a lot of work on that and getting that prepared to launch in a couple of years. Right. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. And last time we were talking a lot about oil analysis and whether people should get one and when they should get one and so forth, and low viscosity engine oils. And has anything changed since the last time? I think, has anything changed as far as viscosity oils? Our planet is changing. It's some places getting warmer, some places getting colder. Is that changing the way you guys develop your oils? Is there something new someone should be using? I mean, we never used to get to minus 30 in Toronto, but we're starting to see those kind of temperatures nowadays. So.
Yeah, I would say there's much more of a focus on lower viscosity engine oils. 10W30 is the fastest growing engine oil viscosity for heavy duty diesel engines for sure. So there's been a lot of focus at Rotella on those 10W30 low viscosities with synthetic base oils.
Okay. So tell everybody how this works. The numbers, they all mean something. And I know there's the 10 and 5 and 20 and 40 and who knows whatever else numbers are out there. Give us the idea. Tell us how that brand, maybe use a 5W30 or whatever you want to use and kind of explain what those numbers mean as far as temperature and that kind of thing.
Sure. So viscosity by definition is the resistance to flow, and oil changes that resistance to flow or the viscosity with temperature. So when you see an engine oil viscosity grade, you've got two numbers. The W number, which you can think of as the winter number, that's how the oil viscosity behaves at cold temperatures. And then you've got the high temperature number, which is the second number, which is how the viscosity changes when the oil is hot. So the lower the first number, the better the oil flows or the more pumpable it is at colder temperatures. It doesn't get as thick when it's cold. And so the oil flows faster when you're starting up the engine. Everything is cold. The oil is cold. If you've got a 10W or a 5W, it's going to flow faster and get to those critical parts to lubricate the critical parts faster.
Okay. All right. And then, so now is there a proper operating temperature? Does it matter? Does the oil adjust on its own? Like once something's warmed up, your engine's warmed up, does it sit like in the middle of those numbers? Or I might have this totally wrong. I'm not a mechanic, but
yeah. So the viscosity grade is defined by, so the second number when you're warmed up and the oil is thin, that is just defined by what the viscosity is at 100 degrees Celsius. So that's kind of around the high temperature operating range. Right. But that's just kind of the standard measure of, at 100 degrees Celsius, this is the viscosity range.
Okay. So we have an idea of what that means. So we should all be using, is there anything lower than 5? I don't think I've ever seen anything lower than 5. Maybe there is in the Arctic. I don't know. Is there something lower than 5?
We have a 0W40.
Oh, okay.
That offers the widest range of protection with respect to temperatures.
Oh, wow.
0 is the for the coldest, and then 40 for the hot temperatures.
So should somebody be running that all the time, or is there a bad reason why are we not just, why do we have 3 or 4 different kinds? Why don't we just have 0W40 all the time? Why would
it depends on your ambient operating conditions. So, common question is, how do I know I'm using the right viscosity grade? So your engine oil or your owner's manual, operator's manual will usually give a temperature range of ambient conditions and say, if you're below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, then use a 10W30 or a 0W40 or a 5W40. So it depends on your ambient operating conditions.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering, because it seems like that would make life easier, but I don't know. I know it goes by your owner's manual. Who would run 0? Is that somebody probably in I'm just thinking of the way truck drivers work and the way that the planet is changing, and people are going from those extreme cold to extreme warm. Somebody who's running from north to south could hit all of those ranges. And that's right. I guess they'd probably be safe with the 5. I'm just wondering if, they're probably thinking what's going to be the best for everywhere I go,
That's right. If you're long haul north and south, you want a wide range of temperature coverages. So you're probably better off running something like a 5W40 or a 0W40 all year round.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I know we go through that with the fuel. When I used to run north and south, you had to be very careful where you're fueling up, because that fuel is different in the south than it is in the north. And that's when you start freezing up and doing all those kind of things. Now, you're saying you have some new viscosity. You have a new oil out. Is it new oil or just new viscosity you've got coming out? Weird.
It's a new oil. It's the Rotella 10W30 full synthetic engine
Okay.
oil
Okay.
that we launched second half of last year.
Okay, so now what is the difference or the benefit? We were just telling people, hey, you should be running 5W40, and now we're telling them go back to 10W30. So
Yeah.
what is the benefits of that synthetic oil? I'm sure there's benefits to it for it.
Yeah, so there's improved wear performance in a 10W30 full synthetic because, like we had mentioned, it covers a wide range of temperatures. And so you've got that faster pumpability, the oil getting to critical parts faster when it's cold. And so you've got wear protection early on when you start the engine and things are cold. And then you also have the extreme protection at the high temperature range.
Okay, so it's protecting you all the way through. And then is this you've got some stuff like PC12 and all that. What are all these numbers meaning? I'm seeing CK4, PC12. I don't know what they are. You know what they are, but I think they're programs you said were coming out. We may have touched on them in the last episode because I think you were just developing at that point. Are we there yet? You want to talk more about those particular programs?
Yeah, it's a long process. It takes several years. So CK4 and FA4 are the current API engine oil classifications. And so we're upgrading as an industry the performance requirements of the diesel engine oil. And so what we're working on now is what we call PC12 or proposed category 12. Okay. And so when we're complete and we're ready to launch this in January 1st, 2027, it'll likely be called CL4. So that'll replace the CK4 minimum engine oil performance standard.
Oh, I see. Okay, so these are the specifications that you build your oil by. If I've got that correct, that's kind of your guiding light, if you will.
Well, that's what the engine manufacturer is going to recommend. You're going to look at your operator's manual and it's going to say, look for an oil that meets the CK4 specification.
I see. Okay. So that's where make sure everybody's on the same playing field. Well, that's great. And what's going on with Shell? What's new? You guys have had, I know we're mostly oil here today, but you guys have all kinds of stuff going on, truck contests and photo contests and everything else. I don't know. Blair's got to come on and help us here, but just tell us what's going on with, because people see a lot of stuff, and I know a lot of it's from last year. So tell us what's new this year.
Yeah, well, we have our annual Super Rigs calendar competition, every year in the summer, but we've had that I think we had our 40th annual last year. That's always a big event we do, but we will have more details on that coming out in the coming months. But we're focused on some new products. And, like I said, 10W30 is the fastest growing viscosity grade, primarily because of its improvement in fuel economy. That's always a big concern, is the cost of fuel. And so when you have a lower viscosity, it flows better, less friction, better fuel economy, lower emissions. And we're, focusing on those products and launching those in full synthetic. That's also, a growing trend in engine oil just because of the performance benefits and the protection benefits of that. So that's what we're pretty focused on at Shell.
Amazing. Now the synthetic helping us not do oil changes as many a year as it used to be every month, I think, for a lot of us. And now it's I think I know for my truck, it seems to be like once a year they do it now. I don't know what it is for the big trucks, but is that a good thing? If we're switching to this oil, you've got a new oil. If an owner operator is thinking about switching to that, should they be checking warranty first, or is it going to be safe because it's 10W30? How does someone make a change to get that improved fuel economy and not void a warranty or engine manufacturer issue somewhere along the line? Yeah,
good question. We always recommend that you follow your operator's manual and the recommendation in the operator's manual for both viscosity grade and oil drain interval. There's a lot of work that goes into both of those recommendations done by the engine manufacturer, many times in conjunction with the oil manufacturer. We work with the engine manufacturers, accumulating millions of miles and analyzing the oil drains and each drain and in between, just to see, when the best time to change the oil is, and it depends on the engine. So, we make sure that we always recommend that you follow your recommendation, and those are by trend extending because the quality of oil is improving over time.
Right.
We're constantly increasing the technology, improving the technology so that the oil is more tolerant to heat, better oxidation stability, and so you can get more life out of the oil.
Yeah. And I guess that's why you've got those standards are so far out. Like you were just mentioning, everything is, a few years out to give people time. You don't want to change it in a year. And then someone just bought a truck and now is dealing with an old standard as opposed to something new coming out. Right. So that's very,
that's right. It's a long, continuous improvement process.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes. You'll be employed forever. That's good, right, Karen? What about coolants? Anything you want to tell us about coolants? We kind of talked about coolants a little bit last time. Is there anything specific now? Again, it's the range of temperature that we're seeing everywhere that I think is making me aware of things, and I'm sure for owner operators and stuff too. So anything on the coolant level that you want to share that might be of interest?
Yeah, coolants are definitely important. I don't think there's anything earth-shattering new in coolants technology. There are several types of coolants, and so it's very important that you're using the type of coolant that is recommended for your engine, and that you're not mixing different technologies, and that you're using what the engine was designed for and what the coolant was designed for.
Does coolant and engine oil, are they tied together at all? Like when you're setting up the engine, are they recommended together for a reason? Like I should use this coolant with 10W30 or this coolant with 5, or are they kind of separate systems? I've always thought of them as separate systems, but they are going through the same engine. So I don't know.
They are separate systems. I think the focus on coolant is based on the metallurgy of the engine. Right. Because it's one of its primary functions is to prevent corrosion, and so the technology and the coolant additive is really going to be dictated by what kind of metal the engine utilizes. So it really is a separate system.
Yeah, very good, very good. Well, sounds like lots of stuff coming up for and for oil users, and we all use oil. Isn't that lucky? Now these, I don't even know if I should ask you this. Maybe I should. I was just going to ask you about. We got electric stuff coming out. I don't even think it uses oil, does it? I don't even know if electric engine uses oil. So.
They do in the drivetrain. There still are fluids. There's certainly coolants, to cool the batteries, and it's different fluids, but there are definitely we call them e-fluids.
Right. Is that a line through Shell? Like, is that something that Shell's looking at as well? I think for the future, I guess so.
Yeah.
If they have electric trucks,
we're working with the engine manufacturers and truck manufacturers to make sure that we have their future needs being addressed with those driveline fluids and coolants and those types of things. Absolutely.
Oh wow! So I am assuming you're going to have probably. I'm not planning on attending any of the U.S. shows this year. We have a lot of Canadian shows. I'm assuming your team will be at many of the U.S. shows. It's probably Matt's for sure. If people have questions and want to learn more about these and see specs or whatever,
Absolutely, I'll be at Matt's, and you can stop by the booth if you've got some more questions.
Can people find these things online? Can we? I think before you were able to go and choose. See oil specs and stuff like that online. Is that still available through Shell?
Yeah, the shell.rotella.com will give you, point you to all the different things you need to know. There's coolant information on there and engine oil specifications, and there's a lot of good information there for sure.
Great. Well, look, thanks for your time today. It's good to talk. See you in another year. I'd see you at Matt's if I was going, but I'm not going this year. But anyway, thanks very much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. It's a wealth of knowledge. I know for a lot of people, they're probably going, okay, it's engine oil. But there's a lot of owner operators that really key into this stuff because it, like you said, it makes a difference in fuel, fuel consumption and that kind of thing, which is money right out of the pocket, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Anytime. We'll see you again, and thanks for being available. Yeah.
More information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit the and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.